Just start. Good.
Yeah.
Well, alright, I pressed record. This is the intro. This is going into fucking...
Yeah.
All
This
right,
is like
wait, am I allowed to swear?
I think so, but it's like the Saturday Night Live
Ross,
cold open.
you're
so
not allowed to DM me. Yo, fuck that Ross guy. Before we get into anything, we have two spectators. I don't know if they want me to say their names, but they're here to judge us and bully us. Don't worry about that, though.
I'm sure we'll get a lot of comments from them after we're done.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, God, Junior fucking sucks at this, and I'm gonna be glad it wasn't me.
Well, Ross is DMing me.
Welcome to...
Oh shit, he DM'd me too.
Welcome to the Circle of Podcast. I'm gonna call it that from now on. Alright.
That's what it said on it.
I don't fucking know. So before we get into anything, not everyone knows who we are. Not everyone raids with us. Yeah. Anchor, tell us, who are you?
All right. My name's Anchor, lifelong gamer, married for 34 years. Try to fit in gaming when I'm not working or doing other things. 3 grown kids. We just had our 7th grandkid. Been playing on games since the 80s on a TSR-80. Started playing MMOs and Ultima Online and Asheron's Call, and I've been a WoW player since release. Usually tank, AoTC most seasons, Keystone, Master, Hero most seasons also. I really suck at DPS. Really enjoy the people side of the game. And just like hanging out with y'all. It's a lot of good fun. I think we're a good bunch of people.
See,
we like to have a good time.
That's like one fucking hell of a resume, man. I don't know how to top that. He's also our guild
We're not
lead,
gonna
so he's
top
just like
that.
way cooler.
We're not gonna top that. What? Don't even try.
I don't know. I think each of you guys has something awesome about you.
Well, that's Anchor. Crazy, my man. My DQ man. No one's gonna get that joke, but... Who are you?
I'm crazy. I'm a lifelong WoW gamer as well. I'm 23. Started playing WoW when I was 8 because I'm goated. I started playing in fucking late Wrath of Cataclysm, and I play any role, but I'm mostly a DPS main. I enjoy all 3 Evoker specs because I'm a nerd, and I love the Master Monk because I love being an alcoholic. Don't take that out of context.
I feel like you're projecting with that last bit. I don't know.
Don't worry about it. I've been AoTC since BFA and KSM and KSH since Dragonflight, so a little new to the keys scene, kinda. I do a little bit of bad PvP on the side, but we don't talk about that.
I feel like that's all of us, but we're not here to talk about things like PvP. That's for the like 20 people that still push Glad.
Oh, you're right. And I ended up joining Circle of Tranquility mid-Dragonflight part-time in Aberys. I was raiding one night with you guys, and I fully committed to Mirror Still, and I love hunting mounts that I like and rare hunter pets, because I'm a nerd.
That you could... Hey, man. You said it, not me. That was great. Can we get a clap for Crazen, guys? Everybody just...
I'm not sure we will hear it, but yeah.
Nope. It's
Round
the
of
thought
applause.
that counts. Round of applause. Okay. Hi. I'm Lothbrook. Nobody calls me that, though. Everyone just calls me Bread. Don't ask why. I'm the raid lead of the guild, and everyone makes fun of me and never listens to me. So that's cool. I got raid lead because I bullied Anchor, and he was scared of my aura. That's how it happened. He can confirm it. I don't think I would ever lie. He knows it.
Actually, it's actually for your stunningly awesome personality.
Definitely wasn't something else, which I might get into a bit later. But yeah, that I'm kind of the same deal as the other two. I get AoTC every tier. I get KSH every tier. I don't really just get KSM. I'm gonna aim for Keystone Legend in 11.1, which we could get into in a bit. I want to talk about what that means, but we're kind of just the average, or maybe slightly above average folk that play WoW at the end game, and we don't really like classics, so we play retail. Oh, and my personality trait is death striking. Thanks.
Nice.
All right, Junior.
Nice.
My man, Pac-Man. however you want.
Yeah, that's me. All right, so hi guys. I'm a junior. I'm 23 years old, and I've been playing WoW for like I don't know, it's like 3 or 4. I've been playing WoW like my whole life. I didn't really start caring about WoW until Legion. That's where I met Ancor. And then shortly after me and Ancor met, he ended up moving into a different guild called Circle of Tranquility, in which I followed, and I've been with Ancor, playing with Ancor ever since then. Um, I mainly play ranged DPS. We got my first AoTC in BFA, and then now we shoot for AoTC every season and KSM and KSH when I can. And yeah, same thing as Brent, pushing for
You got
Keystone Legend next year.
KSL coming up next.
Yeah,
KSL
KSL.
sounds weird.
Yeah. I'm generally the ranged DPS player and the meta chaser. I like to play what's really good at the game, or like what's the best. But that's me.
All right, that's Poggers. The general idea of this podcast isn't exactly to meet a broad audience. It's mostly to just kind of be entertainment for ourselves and a couple of the guildies. You can see 2 of them are already here to just kind of witness it. They're probably laughing at us, DMing each other or something. I don't know what they're thinking. It's making me nervous. But we're just kind of here to talk about the game as we play it and how we experience it. We almost never Mythic Raid, which is... I mean, we will maybe at the end of a tier where we're just, like, bored and we kill, like, the first boss, but we're not usually good enough to do that. We can, but we just don't care to usually.
We did kill Nauru in Amir Jasil.
Yeah, and I mean, he was easy, right? Like, any first boss, you could probably just go in and kill, like, anyone else, but we don't really care, because at the rate we get to him, it's like, no one needs the gear, so no one cares. Plus, it's the first boss. They don't have good gear, usually. Unless it's Aerodok. He has the ring. We did try to kill him on Mythic, right? Or did we not?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did.
I think it was in Season 4. And we kind of just nuked his ass. Because he does nothing.
I don't remember a ring dropping. I thought it was depressing.
No, it didn't. You just had to fucking buy the Awakened one. Which, actually, that kind of gets me to my first thing. In 11.1, because a ton of news for that got announced. What do you guys think about, like, Dinars being a thing and, like, not faded seasons again? Well, not again, but just in general.
Oh, I'm actually really disappointed that I may actually get a certain item drop from the raid and not have to run, the raid like a gazillion times. That's going to be a little bit disappointing. That actually may lower engagement, so I don't know.
See, this is the tricky part. I don't know when he's being sarcastic with me. Probably.
I laughs at everything.
We don't know anything about the Dinars, right? Are they going to be like for what tier we're running?
They are tied to that renown track that is also tied to the raid, which we don't know how to progress currently. It's presumably just killing the bosses, and then it moves up, and then there will be like some sort of catch-up system, like as the weeks go by, kind of like the Narubar Finery. When you get that buff over time. If you join in late, you could get the 11% right now. As of the time of this, you get an 11% buff by the time you probably just play any ult. It's but with it being renowned, it's also account wide. So,
and it looks like the Dinar items are 13 tracks. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be probably at the beginning base level and then upgrade to mythic level.
Yeah, like the.
Oh, so like the Awakened.
Yeah, exactly. Like it starts really low, but gets up to myth track really. But
look, man, no more like waiting for Spy Masters to drop. I can just go buy it, dude.
That's the funny thing, right? Is like the acquisition of the tokens is pretty late into the track, and I kind of wonder if you think that's bad or good, because like. I feel like the idea with the Dinars being in late is like, if you've had the raid on farm, or you're just progressing like whatever it is you may be on still, and you just still don't have like Spy Masters, I think at this point in maybe a month ago, Like, say we had these dinars, like, in this tier, right? And we got those dinars, like, a month ago, and then you could buy it, like, a Spy Masters. That would probably be fair, I think. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it'd actually be really good. I mean, late season, I think one of the things that kind of burns me out is, especially if there's, an item that you're really trying to get and you can't get it, and you just kind of, I don't know, I feel like I just kind of give up after a while. But the re-engagement of, oh, hey, I got that, and then I don't know, maybe getting a little bit, re-energized, especially if there's some really good drops, something that's really exciting. I mean, I could see, just getting more time out of it, more enjoyment instead of looking longingly at an item and never being able to get it.
Yeah, I agree. I just wonder if, like, the timing is gonna be a problem, because we don't know how the renown itself works. So I don't know if, like, we would get those tokens, like, now in the tier, or, like, a month ago. Like, if you take, like, when Rubar started to now, when do you think, like, getting the first token would have been good, you think?
I mean, getting it now would be fine, right? Like, because then you still have the rest of the season, right, to play with it. But I definitely think, like you said, like a month earlier than this, or even like 2 weeks earlier than this is probably like the best time. It's been long enough for you to try to get a drop, and at that point, it's like it's been punished. Like, it feels bad to keep trying.
Yeah.
Like Ankor was saying, and then I think it's also early enough that you're not going to be completely burnt out. You're going to get it, and you're like, oh, okay, well, now I can finally start pushing. Right? Like, is all Ranged DPS have wanted that Spy Masters, right? If I just buy one that'll upgrade all the way to Myth Track, then I'm going to get that, and I'm going to feel great. Honestly, no matter when I get it. As long as it's not the last week before the next year. And even then, with as something as you have Spy Masters, getting it now, it's probably still going to be our best in slot without a nerf going into the next year anyway.
Oh, it'll 100% be nerfed.
Well, especially if you can, I mean, get it up to that mythic level. I mean, especially for, just that really good finish of the season, whether it's topping off. I mean, whether it's like going into mythic or, cleaning up just consistent farm on heroic, or keys. I think it'd be good. I mean, about that week 12 mark, right about there, that feels like a pretty good time as far as, everyone's had a shot to get it normally, and then at that point, it's not going to impact. And at that point, I don't remember what week the everything closed for the Hall of Fame, but kind of around that time.
Yeah, I think around that time is perfect, right? Like, because you wouldn't affect the Hall of Fame guilds that want to progress as naturally as possible, and you'd only be affecting mainly the average player who doesn't like. They're gonna be like, oh, cool, I don't have to farm this anymore, so I just buy it. And there's generally only, like, for me, there's only one or two pieces of gear each tier that I really wanted and then, like, have burnt myself out trying to get.
Yeah, like, it was always for example, when a certain druid we know would always fucking request the Nimue staff every single week.
It would have been nice for that thing to have dropped any of the... What?
Yeah, but now
I think it dropped for, like, our 8th week.
Yeah, it took a fucking while. Like, by that point, she was on farm for sure. And, it just never really showed up on heroic. What do you think, Crazen? You haven't talked much yet.
I think having the dinars late is fine, because, like, it gives you time to, like, farm the raid, like, for you to get it naturally. And then, like, by the time you get, if this Wowhead article is right, and it's based on killing bosses to get the reputation, which we still don't know. You're right, we don't know. But like, by the time you kill like this many bosses to get like that renown, like, if you haven't gotten it, you have that security of like finally getting like maybe the very rare item you're hunting, or just like any item, and I think that's fine.
I think especially because if the say you get like one renown track a week, you could start planning around like what item you'll buy, because like maybe it's like week 12 and you still don't have like that really cool trinket, but you have two other trinkets that are pretty high item level already because like you've upgraded them. You could start saving up some like some your Valor Stones, and maybe a couple of Gilded Crests in that process. Depends on like what they're at, your other two trinkets, but I think the idea of just being able to like plan your loot better and not RNG it always is always nice. It's kind of lame as fuck otherwise.
Yeah, so we're in week 13. Last week was week 12. This is the Mythic Plus number of runs tracker. And I think that the Hall of Fame closed late November. I think it was like the third week of November, right there. So yeah, maybe that's around like week 10 or 11. What position number was that first dinar on there?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Crazen, do you have that up right now?
I do. It says you get the dinars are renowned 17 and 19.
Oh, jeez. I
So
wonder
it's,
if that's
really
supposed to
late.
be every like week 17 and 19, or just something else. Maybe you get like 1.5 a week. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope it's not that far into it, because
By that
counts
point,
tough.
it's kind of like salt in the wound. It's like, well, you've probably already gotten, your goal for the season, right? Like your KSM, your AoTC, like shit like that. You didn't need the trinket, but having it would have made things way more fun.
Yeah, it just says you get them at renowned 17 and 19 respectively, and it's 1, I believe. So there's only 2.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, but I don't know. A dub is a dub. I don't think that's even if it were that late, it's still free loot, essentially.
I think it depends on how fast we're getting this renowned. Like, it all like comes down to how fast the renowned
Yeah.
goes up.
Which we can only speculate, so spending a ton of time on it is kind of weird.
Well, I will say that I hope that we get more renown for heroic kills instead of normal kills. I think that really incentivize people, playing heroic. That could be kind of cool.
I don't know, though, because, like, well, maybe it's okay, because imagine, like, that was also the case for Mythic, right? Like, if we killed Mythic bosses, we got more renown. To us, that would suck, and we would just be, like, behind every week, because we just don't do it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, to be fair, I'm not saying we need to be, like, up to, like, catching up with, like, the Hall of Famers. Like, they're always going to be doing, like, their split runs and crazy shit like that. But, a maybe more average cutting-edge guild will get that, I don't know, Mythic Spy Masters, like, week 3. And then they're, like, with how long Hall of Fame took, who knows, but I don't see it being bad, but it also could be, like, this weird thing where if you miss getting heroic kills a week and then you fall behind, it feels bad, and you can't just, like, do normal.
Well, and the one thing, I think it matters a little bit less just because of the crest changes. I think crest acquisition is just going to be so much
That's true.
more smooth next season from the start. That's going to be legit.
Yeah, so I'm not totally sure. They made it so doing, like, 12s, like, actually doing things beyond a 10 is, like, more incentivized because you get more crests now. You get, like, what, 16, 17 gilded crests in a 12 now? Or some shit.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Also, you're not, like, as punished for breaking a key now, because, like, you'll still get the crests and everything, but not as much. But it's not, like, a measly 5, I'm pretty sure. Which is poggers. Also, you don't need, like, what, 90 gilded crests for a crafted piece? This shit was crazy. It took forever to get. And then you would break 10s, or because, like, we're not always the best. And, like, fucking, sometimes a 10 is super easy. Sometimes it's the worst.
Sometimes you just brick a key, like...
It's just an off day, right? And then you get fucking 5 gilded. And it's like, bro, I'd rather just, like, be shot in the foot. Like, what the fuck? After you spend an hour in that Grimbatol or something.
Yeah, I'll just go cry in a corner and just craft my gear.
Yeah, but now it's like 60, right? That's what it was in Dragonflight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, no one complained about it in Dragonflight, but then they were like, let's fucking buff getting it. And it was like, oh, okay.
Well, actually, that does bring up something. I know it's easy to complain about Blizzard, and it's easy to complain about, especially because we
Hell
all
yeah.
love this game. But one thing I will say is that, man, they are way more responsive now to player feedback than they ever have been. It is pretty cool.
So what do you think the feedback they're getting is of the new tier sets, actually? Because they have shifted from being spec-based to role-based. So you have, like, melee, caster, healer, tank. And while they still, like, function differently to your class, they all fundamentally do the same thing. Do you guys think that's going to be, like, hit or miss?
I know that Junior wants to talk about his insurance plan.
He has a lot to talk about insurance.
Yo, I got a lot of shit with this insurance stuff, right? You don't understand.
Okay. Are we going to have to get in a certain Italian in here? Get rid of the insurance, motherfuckers?
So do you think that's why they called it insurance?
I don't know. We are going to fucking kill Gallywix. You know, he's
I'm
definitely a
beginning to think
CEO.
that they knew, man. They knew.
Might
Gallywix
be.
is about to need some life insurance.
They saw what happened and were just like, guys, I got an idea for the healer tier sets.
Well, is it a little bit too pop culture-ish? I mean, isn't he like a CEO of like them?
I think he was always meant to just be a joke, right? But then he just kind of slowly became Bobby Kotick, which was kind of funny. Especially in BFA, where he's just being an absolute shithead in the story. And like, what is nothing more than a Bobby Kotick self-insert than a fat, green, short, greedy piece of shit? You know what I mean?
True. No, you're right.
But anyways.
But think of the shareholders.
What do you got about the insurance sets, Junior?
All right. So I've got some like, okay, insurance is just boring. I mean, it's a boring mechanic. The only like my biggest complaint with it is like one healer. I think Mistweaver has a really cool like kind of maybe think about it interaction, where their healing is increased. Their insurance healing is increased when you have more insurance out on more players, right? Kind of like with the renewing mist stuff, where the renewing mist is like increasing their healing done. But then like Resto Druid just kind of like, after insurance expires, it just applies another hot. And it's like, I don't know. They're boring. Insurance seems like a boring mechanic.
Hang on. So we could talk about the Resto Druid one specifically. Now, I don't heal. I kind of exclusively play tank. Recently been delving into DPS. So I can't really comment a whole lot about how good these are or not. But for the 2 set, says their healing spells have a chance to apply insurance like everyone else, and it'll heal them over 15 seconds. It's consumed when the ally drops below 40% health, so it's like a
it's consumed when they drop below 40% health or the 15 seconds is over.
Yeah,
that also counts as consuming it.
Yeah, and then Life Bloom, when it finishes, has a 30% chance to apply insurance as well, so it's kind of just like procs and procs at the moment to its target for 10 seconds. And then when insurance is consumed or removed, it leaves a rejuve, regrowth, or wild growth on the target for 15 seconds, whatever one is missing. If your insurance procs from Life Bloom, is what it's saying.
Yeah. No. The insurance, just when any of your insurances are consumed, they'll apply a missing hot to the target. That's what the 4 set will be. That's what the 4 set means. But like, they don't really have a guaranteed way. Their best way is with the 4 set, like Bloom Healing will do it. It's very specifically, like I said, the Bloom. So when it's removed has the biggest chance for them. Whereas like Mistweaver, their 4 set just means renewing mist applies insurance for 6 seconds. Like that force set says, casting renewing mist applies insurance for 6 seconds. The healing of insurance is increased by up to 50% in proportion to the coverage renewing mist has on you and up to 10 allies. It's like it feels like there's a little bit of like interactions. Like you just kind of want to spam renewing mist to get insurances out, and that'll just increase your healing.
The funny thing is, isn't that kind of how Mistweaver plays already? You just
It's not like
press
changing the way you
mist,
play.
like,
It's
off
just giving you
cooldown.
more healing and more healing
More
into
healing for doing what you already do.
it. And then like the Pres one is super boring. The Preservation one is like you press Verdant Embrace and it applies insurance to you and the target you embraced, and reduces the cooldown of Verdant Embrace. I don't remember what Holy Priest was or Holy Paladin was, but they weren't super interesting. Disc Priest gets more healing into atonements from targets with insurance on them. But other than that, insurance is like, it's boring. I feel like all of these just got copy and pasted for the healers, and they were like, have a boring thing that you never think about, and heal your raids.
Speaking of boring,
Oh wait, what's that? What's boring?
yeah, not to get off on the insurance one, but I mean, I think a lot of them are just kind of uninspired. I mean, even when we get to talking about tanking ones, we'll talk a little bit about that. I'd love to hear your thoughts too, Brad.
Yeah, we could get into that in a bit. So what you're saying, Junior, and I know you don't main healer, but you've played it a lot more than I think the rest of us have.
I definitely like. I'm probably it's my second role, right? Like right after range DPS, it's healing.
Yeah.
And it just depends on what we have. If the guild needs a healer, then I'm the one that's healing, right?
So what I'm getting is what you're saying. The sets are just boring, but they'll function fine, right? Like they will do.
I think
they will have the numbers.
They'll be really good.
Yeah, they'll have the numbers, but just not the fun. Comparatively to like,
I mean, when we get into like the DPS ones, some of the DPS ones are insane. Like they sound cool as shit, and then you just have your heals apply insurance. Like I mean, okay, if you're just getting into the game and you hear me say, "Oh yeah, your heals can apply another hot," does that like I don't know about you, but that doesn't captivate me to want to keep playing that role.
Oh, that's so hot. I mean, no, on Druid, what if that actually gets? I don't know if it gets amplified by their mastery. That would be interesting.
You know what's funny is didn't Resto Druid's mastery just get changed?
But yes, their mastery did just get reworked, where the effectiveness is increased by 30% initially, but it's DR'd per additional hot.
Oh, what the fuck? That's weird.
So it's always better to have another hot on the target. It will never not be better, but your fifth hot, instead of being your mastery is increased, your fifth hot would be like 60% more healing, right? Because it's like this the fifth hot.
Yeah.
Instead of that being the case, it's like it's only going to be like 30% more healing.
I mean,
because it's DR, and it's.
I mean, 30%.
I don't know.
More heal. Sorry, 30% more healing is like a lot, considering that every fucking hotfix of Resto Druid this tier was just percent buffs because like they, I don't know, just didn't know what to do or something.
Well, it's because Resto Druid in Raid doesn't have throughput numbers. Again, I've kind of said this a lot to like just you guys, but like Resto Druid's healing works in 5-mans because they're just going to work in 5-mans. They apply hots and then DPS.
Yeah,
but in raids they just don't have the numbers and the mana to throughput the amount of healing that other healers can do. Like Holy Priest is getting a whole rework that I think is going to be. I'm a little bit worried because Salvation is gone for Holy Priest, but they're getting like so much spot healing and like they moved it out of the cooldowns and they gave them their healing back to themselves. And I feel like Resto Druid needs something like that in Raid, where it's like, you're not a spot healer, let them just throw a ton of hots and ramp, flourish, and then go, right? Like, that's what Resto Druid used to be, and that's where I've had a lot of people that I know that play Resto Druid wanted back. They miss flourish specifically, so I don't know. between the rework, or between like the master changes, and this new tier set, I think Rest of Druid's gonna be fine. But I just, I feel like Rest of Druid players still just don't want to be fine. They want to be in a good spot. They want what they've had back.
I can't speak for them, but considering
I
you're
just
able to
noticed
just like
our resident Rest of Druid just stuff.
because it's funny because like if they did it, they probably would have unmuted and just started screaming.
Hey, I might be wrong. Okay, I'm just saying what I've heard. All right.
Well, maybe you are. Maybe I mean it's kind of PTR isn't up, so it's kind of a wait and see moment. But I think the idea of the tier sets is what's interesting because rather than having to make how many specs are there in the game? 36? 37?
37.
37 because of
I think-
UG, right? I don't know. However many. I'm going to say 37. 37 tier sets, each that are unique, every tier. You're not always going to make a good one. Like, sometimes I think the devs are just going to miss. You know? Like, if every tier set was good, are any of them? Like, it's a weird thing. Like, you only remember the really good tier sets because they just managed to hit a mark better than, like, the others. Like, every tier set's been a DPS increase. It's just, these ones are a bit different, you know? And it's a lot less dev work, I think, but also maybe something we'll see stapled in for, like, the remainder of WoW, unless they, like, do others.
I do like the idea, right? Like tanks and healers, and then melee and ranged having like the same principle, like for the 2-set bonuses that we're seeing a lot of for 11.1. I like the idea. I just personally feel like they kind of missed. A lot of it just feels really boring. And then there's some that just look insane and look fun. The problem is none of the healer ones look insane or fun. I mean, I think some of the tank ones even look a little bit fun. Even though they have a pretty boring effect too. But like, the only healer one that I even like stood out that has an interesting interaction was Mistweaver, and it doesn't even change the way they play because they're still just redoing miss spots, everything, right? Like,
Right.
I do think that.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there is one thing that is cool about it, I mean, they did a really good job of really theming it towards the raid, which I think is a pretty cool thing. I mean,
I do like that too. The whole fact or point that the tier sets are just like the fucking let's go gambling meme is really funny.
Gambling.
Like that's cool. Well, yeah, what were you saying?
I do feel it's like it's a little bit like Ocean's 11.1 kind of. So just kind of the whole casino kind of theme to it. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I do wish the tier sets were a little bit more tailored for that.
So
As far as
the
like the transmog.
well, yeah, that would have been cool. Like goblin themed DK. I don't even know how that would work, but I'm not an artist. You know, we haven't gotten, you know, like raid themed tier sets in a while. I think since like Vault, right? Like I think in Vault they just gave up because they all ended up kind of looking the same. But I don't know. That's off topic. The tank tier sets, I kind of like and kind of dislike. I'm in a weird fucking middle ground with them. Because I think being able to proc like one of your strongest defensives in a pull you might have otherwise died, and then being able to live it and just like keep on going is pretty cool. But it might build up this like habit of thinking you could do that, like I'm going to use the Anchor pull in City of Threads as an example. Like thinking he could do that pull because he got like a bunch of, what is the Guardian one? Survival Instincts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like imagine you got like 2 procs of that and you just like never died. But then the next time he tries it, he just dies instantly, just like the original, you know? And that might be the weird part because it's like, how do you RNG a tank, right? Like you have to be able to predict the damage that's about to happen, and like that's the whole point. So
Well, I
don't
think
know.
there could be some interesting things about it from the standpoint as far as like sturdiness at the beginning of a pull. I mean, I guess it's going to depend upon what the internal cooldown is, and then if it's like a guaranteed proc if it hasn't popped for a minute or something like that. So we can see, but it kind of makes me think of the Harder Azeroth. Remember when we had the proc for tanks? Like back then it was Demon Hunter, and so it popped Metamorphosis or even Druid.
Right. Yeah. What was it? I can't remember the name of it.
Vision of Perfection, wasn't it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was from Mechagon too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. You could proc. I think Vampiric Blood is DK. I don't know.
Yeah. It looks like there's a typo on Wowhead for like Demon Hunter. No, a Death Knight it actually says Survival Instincts. So we'll see what it does.
I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Vampiric Blood or Icebound Fortitude. I'm sure it's one of those two. It can't. It's probably not something like AMS or if it's Dancing Rune Weapon. That is kind of crazy, but I don't think it is.
We did refresh the page at one point when they first came out, and it did say IBF. So I would say it's IBF.
Yeah, if it was a Dancing Rune Weapon, hey man, Sand Lane meta coming in.
Sand Lane is so back, guys.
It's so back, finally, not just offensively in fucking raids.
And I'm usually a druid main, so on my bear tank, and I mean the survival instincts for 4 seconds. I mean, especially if that procs at the beginning of a pull. I mean, just to help out with the squishiness initially, that's pretty cool. Then the damage increase for 15 seconds, or 15% for 8 seconds. But the 4-set bonus is actually really interesting. So it's your next 10 druid abilities cast another druid ability to 125% effectiveness. That's actually interesting. I'm not sure if that's going to be timed or if there's going to be a time limit for it. That one could be pretty interesting. I'm pretty interested to see what could be on that proc list for
it. I love that it's basically just Guardian's version of Convoke.
Yeah.
That's what this tier set reads to me. Where just when you get your benefit, you cast another druid ability at random. It could be a regrowth. It could be a fucking raise. Is that the AoE maul, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It could go crazy.
I'll bet you it's going to be like 80% swipe. That'd be hilarious.
That would suck. Even if it was Thrash, that would be good. Like another Thrash for more Ursuk's. What is it? Ursuk's Fury or Remembrance? Whatever. The Thrash shield.
Yep.
That would be poggers.
And then the Brewmaster one, so on Monk, is Fortifying Brew for 6 seconds, damage by 15% for 8 seconds after that, and then 2 casts of Blackout Kick for 150% increased damage, which could be interesting. I mean, you could, palm them also right after that. I mean, that could be a really interesting damage increase on that, too. There could be some interesting interactions on that.
I feel like the upside I didn't initially actually see with these sets for tanks is starting a pull that it would be like average for you and you'll maybe commit a couple cooldowns to it, and maybe as soon as you start the pull you get like your proc set, and now I'm a Blood DK and I just started with IBF and I haven't actually used it. Maybe that would encourage tanks to pull even more and realize like they'll be okay because their thing just procced. That might be a good upside, but also you might get tanks that are just cocky and die instantly. So I don't know.
Do you think if it had guaranteed procs that like you would just track it in a week aura though, right? Like,
yeah, but also it's
and then
kinda,
I feel like Blizzard would complain
I don't
about
know.
that.
Like just making this here sets a week aura is like also boring, right? Like I don't know, like getting back-to-back procs depending on the ICD or the ICD could be cool, but who knows. What do you think about tank sets, Crazen? You play a little Brewmaster yourself.
I am new to the Brewmaster scene, but I think the Brewmaster one's kind of crazy, especially the 4-set. Because you get your next 2 casts of Blackout Kick deal 150% increased damage and incur 2 seconds reduced cooldown. That's more shuffle time, which means your stagger is just going to be way more effective. Like most of the time, like after you get luck of the draw.
Yeah.
So I think Brewmaster's gonna see like even more survivability, and like maybe this will bring them up in keys, maybe to be used more. 'Cause
Well.
I know right now they're like the lowest big tank, but maybe just the slightest.
I mean, I still think Brewmaster is the lowest pick tank because people are just afraid of it. I think it's actually an insanely survivable tank because it is like the most survivable tank in Raid.
Well, isn't it that its damage just isn't great and its buff is like not in line with most comps? Isn't that what
I mean,
it is?
this well, because physical damage is such a weird buff, right? Because right
Well,
now
yeah,
the
'cause there's, like,
meta was like
2 people that do it.
melee DPS, but that deal magic damage. So like, why does it matter that you have a physical damage buff?
Right.
Even though all those melee do physical damage, they do magic damage as well, and the magic damage buff is just better.
And it did get nerfed, but we didn't really see a change.
But done well, your stagger's always going to be up. I think one of the things that, like, I'll give an example. So I was running a dungeon today, and you got to make sure that you get your keg smash out, but you got to time it so you're not running into the first set of mobs, so you get hit before your keg smash hits. So you have stagger going, or you can spinning crane kick when you start, just to gather everyone, just to get that ticking. So I don't know that keeping stagger up is ever necessarily an issue. But I mean, their damage is actually pretty good. I mean, they're actually not bad, but they are. I still think they're the most complicated tank, or there's a perception they're the most complicated.
I kind of agree because, well, it's that or blood. I think if any idiot tried to play blood, they would just be floor POV constantly. But I feel like that's also the case with Brewmaster, right? Because if you don't know what all your brews are doing and your stagger just reaches red and you're just on the floor, it's like, oh, okay. I know playing at red stagger is pretty.
I think it is like people
okay,
just not
but...
understanding stagger.
Yeah, like they don't know. They see it's red and they're like, I'm gonna ignore that. So.
Yeah, and I think by far, I mean, of any of the tanks that I play, I mean, so I usually Bear and Monk. I do think Monk is by far the most fun, and it does feel like it's the most challenged. I mean, it actually, I mean, I really thought, especially coming into the season, that it was going to be a little bit rough on healing, but their self-healing isn't too bad. Obviously, they do need a little bit more support from healers, just because, just the constant tick of stagger, that damage from that. But yeah, I think they've kind of come into their own. And early in any season, or actually expansion, they're kind of weak. As stats get higher, they're just going to get better and better. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens as far as with the damage on this. Because if anything, I think it'll probably get nerfed. Because actually, I do think, like, watching Equinox, as far as him stream and stuff like that, he runs really high keys. I mean, yeah, he just fucks.
Is
man.
he still playing with that e-girl?
Oh, yeah, no. Still playing with the e-girl.
But it's amazing. I mean, the amount of damage that he can output. I mean, I think, especially with monks, though, I think it just comes from just what else do they bring to to the group, and there's just not a lot, which is too bad.
Which is kind of funny because, like, when you look at their toolkit, you'd think it's a lot. Like, they have ROP, leg sweep, their buff, pretty good damage. They're tanky. Paralysis is good. They have their teleport. A generic kick, but hey, a kick is a kick, right?
Yeah, well, like on Heroic Bloodborne, I mean, I was able to place my teleport, before, because there was just an absolute shit placement of the beam in order to touch death that last mob before we went back up. So there's lots of really cool uses for it and things you can do. But I mean, I don't know, it does feel like, I mean, you think about like a good group composition, everyone brings something that really helps out, and there's just not a lot that as monks, I mean, as far as Brewmaster brings that helps anyone else out. So again, the raid buff's pretty weak. They don't have, or I mean, as far as just the physical damage, yeah, they just don't have something. I mean, if they had something cool, I mean, along with that, I think that the play, as far as the number of people playing them would probably be much better.
They just need to give all the tanks an AoE silence, just one, and everything. Like literally, all of the tanks would be playable.
I do think it's. I do agree with you, Anchor, though, because it's like Brewmaster is mostly helping them. It's like your group utility is kind of like way less. Like think about like Prop Paladin. They have so much shit. So is Demon Hunter, and then Brewmaster's just I'm here.
Yeah, think of a Prop Pally. I mean, just the amount of
the on-demand kick.
Yeah, I mean it's just ridiculous, and the bad thing about it is that it actually I don't know. I mean, this is probably maybe a little bit of a controversial opinion, but I
Ooh.
think Paladin dumbs down the player base because people don't have to. Well, I mean, honestly, that you just don't have to be as good because I mean it just brings so many
No,
kicks.
it's just there's a
No,
certain
that was the
paladin I'm
same.
thinking
That was
of.
the same argument that people made with Demon Hunters last year, right? Where Demon Hunters had sigils and were able to like full CC a pack for
Yeah, the
literally
the
like
tank alone could
45
control
seconds.
the entire pack, and Prot Paladin is kind of doing that. I don't think to the extent Demon Hunter was, but they're still pretty good at it. Especially because this dungeon pool is primarily just kicks, and they made it a thing where, an AOE stop actually doesn't do anything but reset the cast. Like they'll just keep doing it, but a Crusader shield will silence it, and then they will not cast it. So, there's that. But then no
Yeah,
one
I
else can
mean,
do that. It's like, okay, what the fuck?
so, so I mean, I would love to see something like on a Brewmaster. I'd love to throw like a rejuvenating keg at somebody for a battle res or something like that,
Yeah,
or
an extra
uh,
utility.
yeah, I mean, even something like a 5% group wide stagger mechanic or something that would stagger damage for the whole, for the whole
That
party
sounds
or the whole
cool.
raid.
You
Guard.
you
That would,
just you just drop a keg and everyone drinks it. They fucking stop taking as
hell
much.
yeah,
They take
hell
less
yeah,
damage.
that would be
It's just a
that would be
totem,
great.
but like a keg. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, yeah, and I mean, kind of match it, like versatility. I mean, so I guess what versatility is a 3% damage reduction. So, I mean, hell yeah. I mean, even something like that, as far as staggering 3 to 5% would be pretty cool.
Well,
So
And
blue,
give them a buff that lets you like a rate buff like that gives everybody like stagger for like 10 seconds or something. That'd be cool.
I don't know if they need another raid buff, just an extra utility. You know what I mean?
Well, like it does. I mean, like a raid CD, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like AMZ or AMS or
yeah. That would
not
that would
AMS,
be
but
okay.
AMZ or
Because
because
oh
currently
we
the
can
shit,
only
work in
reason you
dungeons.
want
It could
at
just give
least
like
yeah.
let your teammates stagger for 10 seconds. Okay, that'd actually be insane. But
Well, this is just like an idea, right? It's that we don't balance shit.
yeah,
It's just like, hey, this could
that
help.
would be in too OP. I'm probably but but like something like that would help Brewmaster a lot. Just giving them some utility.
well, officially you are now Chef Junior because you are cooking shit up, man. That's actually
Dude,
pretty cool.
Dude, take it off the
I feel
fucking
like that'd be
stove.
a cool idea.
Uh, so the tank and healer ones, healer, what would you like? Probably what V tier for throughput, C or D tier for fun, right? Is that like the consensus here?
For healers,
Yeah, for the healer sets.
um, I
Like
feel
it would
like in
obviously vary
general,
between every spec, but like in general for them.
the healer specs feel boring or like look to be boring. I said there's some that maybe it'll be fine on. My laptop will stop fighting with me. I think yeah, it's like for throughput it might even be A tier. It might actually be fine. I don't know how insurance is scaled yet.
We will
So
see.
like for throughput and how good it is, it could be A or S tier. It could be insane. But yeah, just for like how boring it is overall, the idea behind it, I feel like it's B or C. Like it's pretty mid, it's pretty boring. You heal, it applies a hot, you get more free healing. Sometimes your healing is increased afterwards for some other reason, or your healing is increased while I have insurances out. Like, um,
Well, point is, it's fine on throughput, just not fun to play, right?
yeah, that's where I would go with.
Tank
And
is
we'll know
probably
how.
in the
Hopefully,
middle for both of
it,
those.
I feel like it needs to be good throughput wise for this to even be impactful at all. Like, insurance better be like at least 25% of your healing in raid, or I feel like this is gonna be really bad.
That'd be funny on details, though, right? You just look at it's all insurance. Like, what the fuck?
Guys,
I
my
don't want
life
to.
insurance proc.
Let's
Dude, it'd be
go!
insane if it was all insurance. But I feel like it needs to be a large portion of them with how boring they are for them to feel impactful. Otherwise, you're just playing your class and you're not even thinking about it.
I mean,
And
that's
maybe
kind of
that's what they
how
want for healers,
some tier
but
sets already are, right? Like, the tier set for, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. For Warrior is kind of like for Fury Warrior. It's just, if I remember correctly, like, press Bloodthirst, Rampage does more damage. It's like, you already were doing that, so cool. But it's
yeah,
also
I
first
mean,
tier
like,
with hero talent, so they couldn't really cook up anything. It was just gonna be, hey, here's a damage increase. Lol.
I mean, if this is their idea, if this is something they want to do, if they want to do simpler tier sets, I'm fine with this. I like the idea that every role has their own style, like idea. I think that's a cool idea. I mean, healers need some work, but like, sure, yeah, it's just cool with that. I think third point is we need to see it, but
All right,
I think it needs to be at least A tier for healers to actually be happy.
Angkor, what do you think about fun for the tank sets? Like how fun they might be.
I mean, it's all going to come down to procs per minute. I mean, how fast they're going to be coming or slow they're going to be coming, and any kind of predictability on that. I mean, less damage is always good for a tank. More damage is always good for a tank. As far as less taking of damage and more doing of damage. I mean, I think all those are cool. Yeah, I think I just really I can't wait for the PTR to come up and just see what the procs per minute initially are, and just to kind of get a feel for those. And I am looking forward to, especially if it does proc like right at the beginning of a pull. I mean, that could be pretty good. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Could be sweet.
And and also for Druid, it's just more bear claws. So I'm cool with that.
So we haven't really touched on the DPS ones at all. Do we want to start with casters?
Alright, I think we should address one of the biggest ones.
What's
Listen,
that?
if you-
Is
if
it
you-
Ogvoker?
It's Ogvoker.
If we go into,
Okay,
if we go into
but
casters, you have
Before
Yeah.
we get into Og, we have to remember they just made it so you can't buff tanks and healers anymore with Ebon Bite.
Wait, is Og still a spec?
Yeah.
we're not sure.
With that change, who knows? But
What I've seen, like, it is inevitably, but it's not gonna kill Og, it's just gonna, like, make Og seem less, like, required. Because I know a lot of people's biggest criticism.
I think that's a
it
good
feels
step.
required.
It's definitely a good step.
Like you said, they're getting closest clutch mates back again, so they're getting more benefits for the DPS that they're buffing. But instead of buffing 5 people, you're only buffing 2. Technically 3 because you are buffing yourself, but you're buffing 2 people. Only 2 people are getting value out of your breath and out of your other buffs like that. I mean, with their tier set, I feel like Og now doesn't feel so much as a support spec, and I feel like they're just now a DPS spec. They're not there to make sure that your tank lives. They're not there to make sure your healer has enough throughput. They're just there to help your DPS look better.
I think that's okay, to be honest.
I just
but
want Og, I don't know how realistic this is. I just want Og to be in a spot. I don't think it'll ever be in like a spot where everybody's not gonna freak out about it. I just want Og to be in a spot where like your tank does like in hierarchies doesn't have to rely on specifically Og to live, where your healer's throughput specifically relies on it. And I guess
I think that's more of just like a
I think that's exactly the step that they're taking, right?
Yeah.
Like Og no longer is going to be required for those levels of keys. If they're brought just because your DPS with a third DPS, you still don't think that you can beat the check before you get one shot, right? Like you're there to blow up ads as quickly as possible, and you're hoping that Og is like, if Og does 90% of a normal DPS's rotation, but buffs your other 2 DPS to be doing 125% instead of 100%, then it's always better to bring in Og instead of a third DPS in most cases.
I think
If that's the way that it maps out.
I think it's also just a problem with tank tuning, or just like the damage of dungeons, like just auto swings from a mob doing way too much, and
even, like,
the only way
normal
for the
full
tank to
cast.
then live that is like perfectly rotating their CDs, which they might just be proccing now, and also an AUG like sucking their dick, you know, like. But
Well,
that's
now
at
the
like
AUG
a
can't suck your dick.
yeah,
So,
but now they're also hopefully just tuning down the damage of like auto swings, and you have the procs of your set that can just like really come in clutch sometimes. That'd be cool.
I'm just glad to see the AUG's gonna like at least see some use still. People like at first like the first reaction was like, oh, AUG's dead. You went in the Evoker Discord and everybody was like, oh, AUG is dead. It's over. The spec. delete the
Every
spec."
Discord does that. It's so dumb. Like any change happens and they just lose it. It's like
doom and gloom. The whole time.
like shut the fuck up. It's so annoying. Like your class is not dead. It's the first set of patch notes, dude. Like relax.
okay, but Frost is dead. Frost DK is in fact dead.
Frost
all
isn't
right?
dead. Their tier set's just bad.
Listen, their tier set's so bad they're cooking to think that it's a DPS loss to equip it. All right, that's pretty bad.
They like look, like they could easily just change Frost's set, but Frost still mechanically, like their talents were not changed. They are still like the powerhouse they were this tier. Like they were crazy.
And I mean, this is only the first iteration. Right? Like we don't have the PTR yet. We're
Yeah.
gonna like maybe they didn't cook this time around, but there's gonna be changes. They're gonna change a whole bunch of stuff in the coming weeks and stuff.
And if Frost stays the same, then rip my homie Aesir. He's gonna be pissed.
Well, that's his problem. Frost was already not on the list to be played this next tier, but like after reading this tier list, tier sets, it's definitely not on the list.
It's fine. It'll be like mid tier, maybe.
I just want the PTR to be.
Depends on honestly, it also just always depends on the raid fights. You know, like Brood Twister, you almost could assume was made for breath build, right? Like it was just perfect. But you know, Kaiveza, you could play Frost, but Frost doesn't excel at it because it's just one target the entire time. And sometimes you have to leave melee because you know you get marked with a thing.
Yeah, just play Unholy, bro.
That's what this is looking like, though, right? Is a lot of DKs are like, just play it holy. And honestly, I can't blame them because their set looks really cool. Hold on,
I guess at this point we should just start with melee since we're already talking about
we're
melee.
talking about DKs, yeah. Well, so we'll look at Unholies, and then we'll use Frost as like an example of like good and bad versions of like this idea, I think. So Unholy, your spells have a chance to activate Winning Streak, which increases the damage of their Death Coil and Epidemic by 3%, stacking up to 10 times. And those two spells are like their only runic power spenders, so like, okay. When they spend a runic power, they get a damage increase basically, because they were just playing the game. But when they press them, there's a 15% chance to remove Winning Streak. The crazy thing is the 4 set, where when they press their 45-second cooldown Dark Transformation, they get 10 stacks of Winning Streak. Sorry. And while Dark Transformation is active, the effectiveness of Winning Streak is increased by 100% and no longer has a chance to reset. So they press Dark Transformation and they just go ham with their runic power spenders, and there's like no loss to it. And it's fun. I don't imagine it's not. Like, because pressing Death Coil and Epidemic, maybe Death Coil, but Epidemic is like super fun, especially in high keys, like where the pack is actually living long enough to take the damage for a while. That's what makes Unholy excel, is like a pack that doesn't just die instantly.
That's why Unholy's good in like high keys, right? Like because they have so much damage with
Yeah.
Epidemic, and
And
give
then they
them,
just
like,
press
10
their
second ramp time
less
and
than a
bam.
minute fucking cooldown, and their AoE spender is just gonna go nuts. Like, they're gonna go
Their AoE spender
crazy.
is 60% more effective. The entire time Dark Transformation is live. Like that's wild.
Yeah. Like, and then there's Frost, right? Same thing, when you just press any button, you get Winning Streak. Increases the damage of your Frost Strike, which is like their version of Death Coil, and Glacial Advance, which is their version of Epidemic.
Epidemic.
But they are a lot worse. Plus, it only stacks up to 5 times, and it's only 2%, which is a big difference. And then their main spender, or runic power generator, is Obliterate, and that has a chance to remove their winning streak, which is like weird, because the other way around is like when Unholy is pressing their runic power spender, it has a chance to remove their stacks. But here it's like if you're playing the Frost rotationally like you're supposed to, it's bad, especially because Frost Strike and Glacial Advance are nowhere near on Epidemic and Death Coil's level, because there's not nearly as many talents increasing its damage or like throughput. Plus, it's only 5 stacks for 2%. Like, you could get fucking 10% increase to their single target AoE spender, whereas fucking Unholy gets a 30%. Like, what? But that's just the 2 set. The 4 set, it lets them stack it up another 3 times, so 8 in total. And while they're on a winning streak, their Frost Strike and Glacial Advance have a chance to then cast a Frost Scythe at 50% effectiveness. And then Frost Scythe now also benefits from winning streak. So when they press Frost Strike or Advance, it could cast Frost Scythe, and then Frost Scythe gives them another winning streak buff.
Well, Frost Scythe's damage is buffed by winning streak. That's what it is. That's what it's saying. That's what I'm saying. In AoE, I actually feel like this tier set might be fine. You just won't plus Obliterate. You just press Frost Scythe, so you never lose your stacks. But like in single target, this set is gonna do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's like the weird thing. Like, first, it doesn't even stack as much as Unholy could. Second, it's kind of boring. Third, it's just terrible in raid. Like, pressing Frost Strike and Glacial Advance are never fun buttons. Like, they're just there. Like, if you have to spend runic power on anything that isn't Death Strike to heal, it's those two, and they're just lame. But they're there.
Just play Breath.
Or that, yeah, right? It's like, but then if you're pressing Obliterate, you know, you fucking lose winning streak, and it's like, that's stupid. To me, personally. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Like, this is the
I really think
difference between Melee.
I don't know, with all their power being in Obliterate, right? It's fine that Obliterate removes winning streak. But like maybe it should be like winning streak is buffing Obliterate, right? Like buff their generator and then have their spinners have the chance to remove it. That would make more sense, at least.
It would match the Unholy one. Kind of.
But what it should definitely do is during Pillar of Frost, probably not lose their stuff and gain 10 stacks or something. Like,
that would be cool. Then both of them have a really nice kind of, just a DPS burst window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even then, it's like maybe just when you press Pillar, you can't lose stacks, or you maybe rapid fire Frost Scythes more or something. Like, there's a higher chance during Pillar to get a Frost Scythe to go off. I don't know.
That'd be fine too. As long as Pillar gives you winning streak, and you don't lose winning streak during Pillar, I think it. As long as you're able to get like more Frost Scythes out too, like that's a perfectly fine bonus. It's just free damage and single target. It's not great damage, but it's just free damage, so it would be a DPS increase. And then in AoE, it would feel really good because you're getting a ton of Frost Scythes cleaving, and Frost Scythe does like bonus damage. It gives like 4x critical bonus, I think, if I remember right.
I'm not totally sure on that, but
I'm pretty sure it does like 4 times the amount of damage if it's buffed.
Yeah.
But I think Frost Scythe is fine. I like the idea of Frost Scythe. I think Frost Scythe has always been a cool button. But it's just never been used as bad.
Yeah, which is like, why is the set now themed around it?
But I think if you give it more procs, maybe give it like 100% chance to proc during Pillar of Frost, and don't let you lose your streak during Pillar, because the Pillar I don't think lasts nearly as long as Dark Transformation, and at least Frost wouldn't be like dead, and it would do. I think it'd pop off in an AOE like Unholy would, getting all the free Frost sites off. But I definitely think the damage should probably be the stack should probably be swapped for Unholy and Frost. Like Frost, the buffs that Frost are getting from Winning Streak are so much worse than what Unholy is getting. So I think the stack should be swapped. Like it should be like 3% stacking up to 10 times for Frost, and the 2% stacking up to 5 times should be for Unholy. I think that would be more balanced and balancing it out.
But then
But I
Unholy
think
is
that would
going to
feel
be
shitty for
upset.
Unholy. Well, but then Unholy would still get like, okay, so if Unholy still keeps the 100% effectiveness, Unholy would still be doing 40% more in their cooldowns.
That is kind of crazy.
So instead of 60% more during cooldowns, they'd be doing 40%, which is still a ton, which would still probably beat out Frost. At least during cooldowns. But I think Frost just needs that same, like, I don't know what the word is, my brain's lagging.
Well,
They need the same treatment that Unholy has.
Unholy was fucking... Both of the specs were just disregarded for ages. Well, I think the idea is there for the DKs, or not just the DKs, the melee. Like, it could be fun. Like, Unholy sounds cool, but Frost is like, that's odd, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just a fucking idiot. But, what about ranged? Who do we want to use an example here? Ogvoker? Og's kind of weird. Can we talk about Og and Dev, and then, like, try to compare that?
Yeah.
Or is that too weird, because Og's a support and not a DPS?
I think at this point, with the changes, I think we should look at Og as more of a DPS.
Alright, so... Do
I think we should
have
be looking at
pulled
Og
up crazy?
as like a DPS doing like 90% of what a DPS should be doing.
Yeah. Do you have Og pulled up, Crazen, or should I read it?
I've got it pulled up.
Okay, alright, so... What do you got?
Alright, so Aug's 2 set is, your damaging spells have a chance to hit a jackpot, causing an upheaval, 100% effectiveness that does not knock enemies up. Casting Breath of Eons always hits a jackpot, so it's always going to cast an upheaval. And your 4 set is your upheavals have a 100% chance to grant Essence Burst, and eruptions cast with the Essence Burst deal 25% increased damage. This tier set is kind of crazy, because this just means I agree with Junior here that seeing Og as more of a damage dealer is going to be, like, I guess the norm, because they're gonna upheaval just does already so much damage. And
Yeah.
this is just making it more crazy. You're gonna get more value out of your upheaval and eruption.
The fact that it's, like, not even at reduced effectiveness. It's, like, the whole... Like, it's just... You just casted Upheaval.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, upheaval's when you're empowered.
And it extends the Ebonmite cast, so... The fact that they could just be playing their rotation and then, whoops, Upheaval, and they got more Ebonmite uptime. But then when they breath,
Yeah.
it'll
So-
Upheaval and breath, and then they could Upheaval again.
This could proc their mastery that gives versatility.
That's...
Or not their mastery, but so one thing, if it does buff Ebon my uptime, then it should most likely also give the versatility.
That
Which
part
would be
is
insane.
probably maybe either intended, not intended. Like, I mean, it'll depend. I don't know what they'll do, but being able to get even higher uptime on that verse buff is kind of, especially in high keys, pretty nice. And then, what about the 4 set? What do you got, bro? Oh my god.
The
he-
4 set's just free damage.
Yeah,
He read it.
4 set, but
Oh,
your upheavals
I'm stupid?
your upheavals have a 100% chance to grant Essence Burst, and then eruptions cast with your Essence Burst.
You
is
did.
25%
Yep, you did
increased
read it.
damage.
I just listen. I'm sick. My brain goes stupid. I'm a little stinky. Okay, sorry.
I
mean,
do
this
think
just
that
means
actually.
more upheaval, or I'm sorry, eruption, right?
Yeah, because Essence Burst grants you a free eruption.
Yeah,
So
and
if
isn't
you're
it
an extra-
instacast, or am I wrong?
It gets a reduced cast time, I believe.
Okay.
It's like 25% faster.
Yeah, it gets a reduced cast time.
Well, and also, guys, I mean, with that 2 set, I do like the safety that's built in there. So, I mean, crazy, you're not going to go around knocking people up everywhere. So, you know,
True. Built-in protection.
a bunch of little baby craisins running around.
Thanks, Zach.
Just don't go to Dairy Queen. They're there though. They're working the register. Be like, yo, can I get a banana split? And then they have to go to Crazen in the back, and he's like, bro, what the fuck? Anyways, I'm done with this bit. What about Dev?
But he's not going to knock you up, so that's all right.
Yeah, that's true.
Alright, I think the dev one is pretty interesting. So the 2 set for dev, your damage is same as AUG. It's a jackpot, but instead of upheavals, you launch a shattering star at 3 nearby enemies at 50% effectiveness, and casting Dragon Rage will always hit a jackpot. This is just the 2 set. That's pretty crazy, and I think this kind of like, I kind of feel a little iffy because this kind of plays more into Scale Commander than it does Flame Shaper.
Oh god. Is that good or bad?
Because now your 3 disintegrates are if they're hitting the same targets. If you're still fighting in like a 3 target only thing, right? You're just going ham. You're disintegrating.
You're launching
be
shattering stars and disintegrates at 3 targets everywhere. Is that what that's basically saying?
Yeah.
That's crazy. What does
And then
shattering
the
star
force
do?
it.
I forgot.
It increases the damage they take
Oh,
It's
by
20%.
20%.
it's
Yeah.
just like a 20% increase.
Yep.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And the 4 set is casting Shattering Star or hitting a jackpot increases the damage of your next Empower spell by 20%, stacking up to 2 times. So that's 40% damage.
Oh,
increase
so
on
when you fire breath
or
a
if
fucking
enemies are-
pack that I just pulled and pull aggro, and then get one
I'm
shot,
gonna-
it's because you just did like 3 billion fucking DPS.
Yeah, it's because he pressed Dragon Rage and then Shattering Star and then Fire Breath and then probably tip the scales into Eternity Surge, and you probably guaranteed ripped aggro from every single.
Oh
mob.
yeah, like he's already dead. Like before I even hit challenging shout on my prop warrior, he's on the floor. Oh shit.
Well, that's great. That'll be like just like an elemental shaman hitting ascendance.
You know, that's
Yep.
what's funny though, is like a lot of these sets seem to play like that. Like where you just suddenly might do a fuck ton of damage. So I don't know. It was kind of a problem for Shaman though, because they could either perform really, really well or average, you know? And it's like, well, you'd always want the first, but can't always get that. You pull a pack and then suddenly your Shaman did just 12 million DPS and you're like, what happened? He's like, oh, I procced. And then he does it for the whole fucking dungeon. You're like, oh, okay. I don't think these tier sets will be as good as that, but I feel like that's the same idea, where you just randomly are tankier, beefier, doing more DPS, you know?
I definitely feel like for the range sets, the jackpots are insane. Like these are gonna have a low. I feel like these are gonna have a low proc per minute, and they would still be better than like most of the melee's winning streaks.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
when they do proc, they're insane, and you get guaranteed procs on all of the jackpots from just hitting your main abilities, like your big cooldowns.
I am just excited to start testing them out. I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking about playing Demon Hunter next year, but because then we would have like Chaos branded shit, but like, you know, it's Demon Hunter. It's not that fun. And their tier set's like whatever this tier. So, not like the effect, like the look, I mean. That's an important part. You know, you gotta look the part and, yeah. Hold on. What do hunters play with the range like caster set or melee?
Both of the
Beastmaster,
range,
yeah, and then Survival is melee.
Oh, so they have both.
they get the benefits off of both. Yeah. Well, Survival has Winning Streak, and Marksman and BM both have jackpots.
I see. Okay. Also, shout out to the Vengeance set. Just being able to randomly proc meta, probably like one of the strongest tank cooldowns ever. Like randomly,
Also-
like kind of fucking
Also, I'm
stupid.
pretty sure that force that means that you get more hunts.
Yeah, which I don't know how much you're pressing it as Vengeance, but it does damn, and that's crazy. In single target, I think a Vengeance will go crazy. But we'll see.
The only thing that sucks about it is the high cast time for it. I mean, it's got a longish cast
yeah,
time.
you
so
wind
it's
up
not-
and then you're dead.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens.
You
Like,
didn't
oh,
press the Demon
I gotta
Spike again.
fucking.
Demon Spike falls off in 1.1 second. You get
Yeah,
autoed
you
right
you
before
go to press
go.
it because you're like, oh, I got a proc, and then they auto you and you're dead because you didn't fucking Spirit Bomb in time or something. Oh, I didn't heal enough. My bad. But yeah, alright, rapid fire. What would you guys rate the tank tier sets on a tier list? S, A, B, you know, that shit.
Each tank individually, or
No,
just
no,
in
just
general?
like in general, like the concept. What would you give it?
Concept. Again, with the same thing with like, I feel like they're boring, but they could be cool. But I feel like there's more interaction with them, with the 4 sets than there are for healers. I actually don't want. I feel like this would go in like A tier. Like I feel like there's more things that can. There's more things that happen because the tank is taking damage.
Yeah, and you can notice it too.
Yeah, like a lot of it's noticeable. So I put this like A tier for these. Like
All right.
they're
wait.
all boring, but like they give you something that's cool.
What do you think, Acor? You're a
Uh,
resident tank man, always.
I would say a B for boring. As far as just overall A, I mean, again, it's going to come down to procs per minute. I mean, as far as how it comes out for that. Yeah, I mean, it's additional damage. I mean, so that's always going to be good. It looks like across the board, so that'll be good. It'll be interesting to see the interplay between the, as far as with the 4 set, as far as what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, even with the acquisition being a little bit boring starting off, I mean, yeah, it's going to depend for me on the procs per minute as far as how reliable they are.
All right. What do you think, Crazy, of tank sets?
I kind of agree with Anchor. It's gonna be up to like how often it proc, and like if there's like a limit of like when it can proc.
Okay. So, like what? B tier?
I'd say like B. Yeah. I'd
B
say
for
tier.
boring. Got it.
I mean, it is kind of boring because it's like.
All right. This will be a funny one.
It's just,
Junior. Insurance sets. What would you rate them? Just in concept.
Dude, again, C or D. Like they're just, it's such a boring mechanic. It's so not fun, dude. It's so passive. It's so out of the way. I feel like if it doesn't contribute at all to healing, then you're just playing the class. And so whoever got shafted in the tuning set is just going to feel bad. So, like, I don't know. I feel like it could be good.
Work to be made.
And I think the throughput needs to be good. The throughput needs to be high for the healer, for all of the healers on it. And then it needs to be good because, like, that's the only way it'll be good. Because it's just boring across the board. It's like, the idea is, like, D tier. I like that they're trying to, like, give all of the healers something. But it's like, the idea I feel like it's just not there. I feel like insurance is just not it. And then, like, how is it going to proc? Like, is it going to proc more often because Resto Druid has a trillion heals out? Right? It's like Resto Druid just going to have 100% insurance uptime.
And you
because
know,
all their proc
if that's
heals
the
are procking
case,
insurance.
if that's the case, maybe it's goated.
Right? Like, so you just have all of your heals out on your entire raid, right?
Yeah.
You know what? You get your insurance procs from one of those hundreds of hots going off, right? on everybody, and then those will go back into healing, and then those could re-proc insurances, and that would be insane.
Yeah.
So if it's based off of like the actual healing ticks, then for Resto Druid, it could be insane. It could be like the free rejuice, right? But then like if it's based off of actually casting spells, then it's gonna feel terrible for Resto Druid. So like I don't know. I feel like
I think it is the spells, because the sets say your spells and abilities. That just makes me think that pressing a button can proc it, but that's about it.
I feel like for Resto Druid specifically, it could be tied to just Hots, like have a 1% chance to proc, and it would probably still be insane because then they could proc in off of itself, and I feel like that would be cool. That'd be cool as fuck, actually. I'd be okay with that. But then, like, I don't know. Overall, I think the idea is boring. It doesn't seem interesting. Most healers aren't even going to realize it's healing unless it does a lot of throughput. So, D tier, unless the throughput's insane, it's going to be boring as fuck. Actually, we'll go C. They're
We
terrible.
will see. Crazy. You
Yeah,
heal
exactly.
sometimes. What do you think? He's dead. I killed him.
I think the healing tier set it is boring, but like maybe if like Junior said throughput's gonna pop off, I don't really heal that much to like give like a real opinion.
All right, rate it then. You're the perfect person to ask.
Like, am I rating it based on like what it sounds like to me?
Yeah. Do you think it'll be good?
I think it's gonna be like B minus.
B minus.
B minus.
We'll take it.
B minus or C.
Hear that, Blizzard? B for Blizzard, not for boring. You get a B minus though, not a plus. B minus. I don't even know if I should ask Ancor. I don't think I've ever seen him heal in my life.
Oh, I've healed occasionally. It's a shit show, but I've healed occasionally.
Same.
B for boring, but with a name like Insurance, what I was kind of hoping that it was going to be is when one of your DPS stands in a swirly, that it doesn't kill them instantly. This honestly really sounds like
They should have made the preset one like when the gate, like your Insurance proc just life grips them.
Yeah, and with a name like Insurance, obviously with everything going on in the world, is it going to get denied? So they're just going to kill you, or
we might need some backup. I'll call Mario's brother.
B for, it's more throughput, so it's going to be B. So I think that's going to be at least what's good about it. It's going to be interesting to see what it is on the meters.
All right, Pog, what about taking? Like, what do you think, Crazen? Or I'm sorry. Well, yeah, Crazen. Let's go with what would you rate the take sets, like in concept?
I kind of like the fact that it can proc your main defensive. I think that's really cool. It being a little RNG might be a little bit weird. Because what if it procs when you don't need it, and then there it goes. I'm gonna give it, I think, maybe another solid B. Just B, like not B minus or B plus, just B.
Alright. B. Rapid fire. Junior, what's your rating?
I feel like I already answered this for tanks. I'm gonna go with A.
Alright,
because,
A.
like,
Pog.
yeah. Alright.
I don't think I got Crazen or Junior's answers, but I remember B for boring earlier from Ancor. Okay.
Yeah, you're sick. You're not remembering everything.
Yep,
That's
nope,
okay.
I am tweaking. What about caster sets? How would you rate them, Junior?
Dude, okay. Caster sets, I think on average, I'm gonna go with like A.
Alright, we got an A tier, brothers.
I honestly almost want to say S. I almost want to say S. I feel like they're insane. I feel like some of these are crazy, but some of them kind of don't look crazy. But I think on average, the jackpot mechanic is cool, and it actually funnels back into doing damage. So, A.
Ah, shit. Alright, Hog. Crazen. You ready to be a Hog main despite everything next year?
Oh yeah, I can't wait to main on, dude.
You're gonna be casting upheaval like crazy. So what do you think about that? How would you rate it?
I'm gonna agree with you. I think the cast just is
Pog. I see. The thing is like, if the concept is good, I think that a lot of the sets can be good. But even then, like, not every one of them is gonna be great. Like, they're gonna miss a couple of times, even if the idea was just S tier as fuck. Like,
Listen, man,
casters
I'll tell you why
generally
it's not
are-
S tier.
Okay.
Okay, it's not S tier because marksmanship just gets a 600% auto shot damage. All right. If marksmanship got a better 2-set bonus, it would be fucking
That's so lame.
the S tier.
I can't wait to auto shoot.
The auto shoot damage increased by 600% and reduces the time between auto shoots by 2 seconds for 10 seconds.
Alright. And our resident, sometimes boomkin player. What do you think, Ancor, about the casters?
I'm gonna agree with Junior on it. I mean, it's gonna interesting to see how it plays out. So yeah, I may actually play Boomkin more.
Oh, fuck.
That'd be kind of fun.
Oh, God.
Boomkin Anchor making a comeback.
Well, at least you can tank raids then, Crazy. You don't have to be worried about it. We'll kick Papa out. It's fine.
We'll just kick out Papa.
If he listens
Well,
to
he-
this, fuck that guy.
He's not gonna be there anyway, so it'll be all right. I'll have to tank anyway.
I took a drink, almost spat it out. Holy shit, that was fucking rude, man.
Man, I love Papa, dude. He's great. He did so good especially this
He did,
season.
yeah.
So it was really good. I mean, it was good stuff.
On track was tough.
Although honestly, legitimately, I miss tanking with you only because I mean, dude, you cover my ass so much, man. I actually had to step up and actually like learn shit. So.
Yeah, but that's kind of cool, right? It's like you realize, all right, well, I get to do more, and you learned more for it.
Well, and I mean, one thing that is interesting about that, I mean, you're really methodical about how you play. I mean, you do the same thing every time, and I think both of us get really good at that as far as just doing the same thing, and learning someone else's style and their quirks and everything. That actually was kind of fun. I enjoyed that, and we've had a couple of different times where other people have tanked too, so that's been kind of cool. So it definitely does keep you more engaged, so it's not just standing there hitting the same buttons over and over again. So I enjoyed that about it.
Yeah, I'm sure going into season 2, now that you and Papa have like this thing, like a duo thing going on, it'll probably just be easier from the start, as opposed to like us figuring out who should be the second. Because at the start, I thought I would take with you, and it sucked for Papa. So then we had you DPS. It was awful for you. So I was like, I'll try DPSing. And then you two had to figure out how to take with each other, and it was like a whole thing. And here we are.
Yeah, we definitely got a little bit of a bromance going on. So, Papa, you owe me some flowers for this, man. In game too.
In game too. That's true.
In-game flowers and real flowers.
Yeah,
Ancor's going
he's got to
big
get
with
him
this one.
the flower crown mug. That'll work, right?
Oh, nice. That'd be great.
Or
I'll
the-
even wear it.
or
I'll
the-
wear a dress too.
He'll wear that dress he likes. Holy fuck. Okay. I guess for the
Oh
last
no,
one,
we're not done, Brad. We're not done, Brad.
I know.
What how do you rate the tank sets and the healer sets and the
okay.
range sets?
Okay. Oh fuck! I hit my elbow
Do
on my
tank
table.
first.
Gonna have to edit that out, I think. For takes, potentially A, maybe high B. Depends how much you proc the defensive and if that matters or not. The 4 sets are where it's really cool to me. Like the Blood DK Death Strike hitting 3 targets. That's cool. Vengeance just randomly getting the hunt and like meta. Like that's cool. Guardians is probably like the weakest in terms of like fun, but it's still cool. Like you just get to cast random druid shit, and I wonder what that would count. Like, can you cast a fucking full moon as Guardian? Who knows? But I
That'd
don't
be
know.
legit.
If it
gonna
would
be
make
swiped
them
up.
go, it would be. See, that's the like RNG part, though, right? Hold on. There we go. Okay. It might pop the fuck off. It might be bad. Who knows? But yeah. Caster sets, Shadow Priest, for example, is like Shadow. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. Shadow
Love
Priest.
when you keep cutting out. Bro.
Shut up! In the recording, it'll be fine. Shadow is goated, and if it follows that example, I think they're also A tier. I know that all of them don't, but that's my thought. I mean, AUG is really cool. Devs is cool from the sound of it. I don't play Hunter, so who gives a shit?
The 4 hunters in our raid group.
Oh! Warlocks, all of those were banger, and they're all casters. So, like, you know, I feel like there's very little L's, so that's good.
Yeah, again, dude, I honestly, casters, I would put an S. There's just the hunter ones just kind of seem lackluster personally.
Yeah,
And
that seems
some
dumb, but
some of the other ones are kind of like, meh.
you know,
like
I fully believe that the hunter ones are made to be dumber because traditionally, not as smart of people play it. You know, like the reason PM Hunter has like the highest death rate alongside Fury Warrior is because they're not the smartest bunch, and it attracts the idiots.
well, it's an easy class to play.
It is, yeah. That's what brings in like the more casual. I wasn't looking at the swirly that was the size of Brazil on the floor, and then I died. Whoopsies. And you're like, what the fuck? Fuck this guy.
That's me for real though. Sometimes you just ain't paying attention, you know.
True, but yeah, I like the rage sets. I don't really have much opinion on the healers. I've been playing it this season, not in high keys though. I don't like it, especially Resto's Druid, which I know is getting a rework, but that spec is fucking lame as shit. I don't know how anyone plays it. Again, it's kind of everything you said earlier about insurance sets. It's probably just like high C tier for me because I don't know any better, but we'll see. Maybe it's fucking cool. And the melee sets. Have all of us rated that? I already forgot.
No, none of us have rated melee
Alright,
sets
I'll
yet.
start with melee. I'm gonna go B- because the idea is there, as seen with like Unholy and Sub Rogue. I know Subs was cool. It's just not all of them. Like half of them are just not great. So maybe they tweak it around a little bit and it could be like A tier. But right now it's like low B because otherwise it's whatever. And you don't actively think about it unless... Well, actually, that's not true, but... it's just some aren't great. Like, gameplay-wise, I think. That's what I think. What about you, Junior?
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you on that. I think B- is a good spot for melee sets. Again,
potential.
the idea's there. It's just there's room for improvement for a couple of the specs.
Yeah. Frost in
Frosty
particular.
K, I'm looking at you boys. I'm trying out here.
This is our plea for you, alright? I'm sure Blizzard will
I
totally
got
listen
you.
to us.
I got you, Ace here. All right, I'm here for you.
I'm sure they are listening
We're
to...
all here for
John
you, Ace.
Blizzard right now is listening, is tuning in, alright? So...
Yeah, that's one of our listeners. Oh,
John
that's
Blizzard,
Ross.
yeah.
Sorry. It's just Ross.
Oh, filthy shaman.
The filthy shaman.
Yeah, we don't like shamans around here. Sorry, guys.
Oh, we almost went through the whole podcast without mentioning shamans. You had to ruin that.
Well,
So close.
you mentioned Ross, so that's your fault.
Ah,
What do you think
blame
about
not accepted.
melee, Crazy?
from Melee, because I don't really play Melee, but I will probably next year. So I guess I'll give it a solid 8.
All right, that's better than fucking insurance was looking. And finally, Anchor, possibly Feral or Windwalker, randomly.
Yeah, actually, I'm a little bit distracted because I'm on the Wowhead site and I was just reading back over, some of the Melee sets, and all of a sudden this random prostate massager ad shows up on there.
What?
And so I just wonder if that's just, I don't know, maybe Wowhead's way of telling us to just go get fucked.
I don't know. That might be part of the sets. Who knows? Maybe you should order it.
I don't know, but I am gonna say that this right here, I mean, that right there, that's exactly what that is right there, which is hilarious, and that could be
awesome.
a jackpot right there. So
it depends on the kind of guy you are,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't play much Melee. I mean, when I do play, usually it's Windwalker. So if I'm DPSing something, that's the one spec that I feel most comfortable with. And yeah, I mean, it's just going to depend upon the tuning. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Again, man, just PTR, man, just to test it and see what it's like.
I'm begging them.
Give us the PTR, please.
Guys, we have to PTR at the start of the next year. All right, January 3rd. I'm calling it.
I do appreciate that it's not up over Christmas because, I mean, I'm off from work, for the week.
Yeah.
I probably would have no-lifed it that whole time. So I'm thankful that sometimes Blizzard does save us from ourselves.
They do. They were like, well, we don't want to split families apart because some degen is playing our fucking game.
Dude, my girlfriend would kick my ass.
Would she fire you then?
She probably would, bro.
Hey, man. It's time to not... You're not supposed to walk that line and you won't have to. Blizzard got your back. Alright, well, we've been at it for about an hour, 40 minutes now. I think talking about all these tier sets is probably a good place to end it for today. Come back, talk about maybe some more stuff next week if you guys want.
Yeah, I'd be down for it.
Yeah, we should run some keys at the end of the week and have some fun.
I particularly want to do PTR keys when that's a thing. So
yeah, 100%. We'll do PTR keys. You can have that layered over the
over the fucking us talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess this podcast fucking devolved into just talking about, do you like the tier sets or are they cringe? And they're all right,
Listen, they all have potential. They just gotta get there. All right. I think that's the lesson.
I am just gonna say transmog for life, and that monk set. I mean, Goku all
that's
the way.
true.
So
It's the crazy thing is just it's not even bad on the animal races. It's just actually sick.
Oh yeah, I think that's.
The transmog's making me torn between Evoker and Monk, man. I'm fucking dying over here.
I mean, how is that even a choice? I mean, shoulders and a belt or Goku?
Listen.
Can he beat Goku though? Your Evoker? Probably not.
Probably not.
I don't think he could beat Goku.
Actually, you know what?
He's gotta get close to him with all those upheavals he's casting.
But they don't knock him up. We found that out.
Oh, true. They don't knock him up.
At least one of them will.
But the first one will.
Yeah, the first one will.
All right.
I can't wait to see what pieces are available in the raid as far as for off spec and stuff like that.
Dude, if the helmet is, you guys don't even have to worry. Don't even gotta worry. All right. Well, I think that is about it. Tune in next week, whenever this is posted. I don't know. I'll figure it out. We'll talk about stuff then, and yeah. I don't have an outro. Potty bye.
Goodbye.
It's been the potty tea.
The potty tea is Jover.
The
Farewell.
circle of podcasts is gone.
Yes, it is circled down the drain.
Ah,